Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel Azad Hub, Easy Learning with Azad. If you are new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe. Also like, comment and share this video.
Hello everyone, welcome you all to my YouTube channel Azad Hub, the learning platform. Today I'll discuss a very important paper of 2019 Biosignal and System, the 2019 semester examination, which actually the paper will consist of 70 marks, and out of which the 25 marks will be from short questions and the remaining 45 marks we have to solve, or we have to write it down. So the first thing I'll be discussing like this 2019 paper of Biomedical Engineering Department, the Biosignal and System. The paper is basically Biosignal and System. So this paper, as I already told you, that 25 questions will be there, to which will contain 1 mark each. So I'll discuss all the 25 questions for you. The first question I'm going to solve is here it says part A, okay, and the remaining questions for the part B, you can also ask me to solve it if you're having any difficulty, and I'll be uploading that from the description itself. You can get the PDF copy downloaded. And if you like the video, kindly do not forget to subscribe and share and like and put your comments. Thank you so much everyone. So let's start by the number 1 question. Is saying an LTI system is both the dash and dash. So this LTI system is nothing but linear time invariant system. So an LTI system is linear as well as time invariant. The system which follows the linearity principle, or you can say the principle of superposition, then it is called as linear and time invariant system. Okay, so linear time invariant system or an LTI system is very important system in signal and system subject. So the second question, they're asking the all periodic signals are signals. Which signals? All periodic signals are your power signals. That means you have to remember by a short technique, you can write it like PP. So this PP formula will help you. That means P for periodic and P for power. So power signals are periodic, and you can this way you can remember this, that all power signals are periodic signals. The next question they're asking, a system is an interactive group of physical components or objects. Physical objects or with physical conditions called as. So basically see, a system like a computer system, there are various components, right? Like the CPU, then your UPS, then your monitor, or then your keyboard. All the things are the components of the system. So if you consider the system, the computer, the remaining all the things are the components. So that is why a system is a group of interactive group of physical components or objects, which actually you have to like write this physical conditions called the systems components. So interactive, this word means all the components has to be connected, and there should be an interaction between among the components of the system. The next question they are asking, a random signal can have more than one at an instant of time. More than one word. So a random signal can have more than one variable. That means more than one value of amplitude value. So suppose this is your I'll draw your one so now I'll draw one this is your random signal. Suppose if this is your random signal and this is your axis, this is the amplitude axis, this is your time axis. See, at this point of time you can have multiple variables, like what will be the amplitude of this signal. So there are many amplitude values. That is why, that means there are two, basically depending on the number of amplitude values at a time scale, you can have two types of signal. The one is deterministic. Deterministic means only one value, amplitude value for at instant of time, and for this random type, that means there are more than one values. The next question they are asking, the convolution is the product of. So convolution is a process in which we compute the convolution by between two signals like x of n, which is the input signal, input sequence you can say, or input signal, and h of n, which is the impulse response. So using this we can find out this we can find out the convolution. So the next question they are asking, a signal can be converted into the odd and even components of the signal. So the signal can be converted into odd and even component. Okay. So any signal, if you are given any signal, so that signal can be broken into two parts, and that is even and odd. We already have discussed the even and odd part in the subject. So then next question is, an impulse function has an impulse function. Basically, this is your impulse function. At 0 position, there will be signal, and the signal is infinitely long. So it might be called as infinity. The amplitude will be called as infinity, or the height is infinity, and the breadth is very low, very less. So it is negligible. So it can be called as zero width. The next question, the ROC of the jet transform does not contain any. So ROC means region of convergence. Region of convergence of jet transform. The region of convergence of jet transform doesn't contain any poles. Okay, so it doesn't contain any poles. So zeros and poles are there. So at zeros, the signal value is 0, and the poles, the signal value is infinity, very large. So the next question, they are asking, signal has amplitude value 1 for t equal to greater than equal to 1 and 0 for t equal to 0. So this is here, it should be little correction, it will be t less than 0. Okay, so suppose for t greater than equal to 0, the signal value is 1, and t less than 0, the signal is 0. So ultimately this is nothing but your unit step signal, because you can see here. So this is your 0 position, this is your t, and this is your 1 position. For 0 or greater than 0, the signal value is 1. So ultimately this is your signal, and for less than 1, less than 0, that means this left side, this signal is nothing but 0. So this is what this is, you can see, this is basically the unit step signal. Next, the question is, a signal is a mathematical dash is a mathematical function that contains some information. Signal, it has to be a signal. Basically, a signal contains a mathematical contains some information, and it is nothing but a mathematical function. Now let us discuss the true or false. There are 10 questions from true and false. All the periodic signals are energy signals. It is already the similar question which is asked in the free fill in the blank part, that all periodic signals are energy signals. Remember this PP form, I told you periodic means power signal. So all the periodic signals are power signals, but here they are saying it is energy signal. So this is wrong. So answer is false. The next question, a signal produced by the system is called input signal. You should know the signal produced by the system is called output signal. A signal which is given to the system is called input signal, and the signal which is produced within the system is called this is called internal signal. So this is your system. Okay, this is system. This is your input signal. This is your output signal, because the signal which is produced by the system is called output signal, and which is given to the system is called input signal, and which is produced within the system. Suppose there is heat or something which is produced inside the system is called your internal signal. Okay, so based on the basis of the whether it is given to the system or it is taken out of the system or it is produced within the system, means inside the system, there are 3 types of signals. The first one, the given to the input signal, and the produced is output signal, and the which is produced within the system is called the internal signal. Then the next question, they are asking, the total energy of an energy signal is finite. So the thing is, the energy signal, if it is called an energy signal, that means the energy of a signal has to be finite. That means it has to be less than infinity. So any signal whose energy is less than infinity or which is finite is called as energy signal. So it is true. That means for energy signal, it is energy less than, that means if it is your energy. So this is your energy formula. You can write it like this: summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, then x of n whole square. Okay, so this part, if you calculate this with the help of this formula, and if you get the value like in finite, so then it will be called as energy signal. So remember, the energy of an energy signal is finite, not infinite. Remember. So the next question they are asking, the system is said to be linear if it is satisfied the principle of superposition. I already have told you that a linear system is nothing but a system follows the principle of superposition. So that means if the input is the weighted sum and output also has to be the weighted sum. Suppose this is your input, one is your input x1 of t, other one is the x2 of t. If these two are your input signal and the produced y1 of t and y2 of t, these two are your output signal. So then if these two are the weighted sum, so like a x1 of t plus b x2 of t, then the output will also be the weighted sum like this. So a y1 of t plus b y2 of t. Okay, so this is nothing but this is the principle of superposition, or you can say a linear system is basically a system which follows the linearity principle. So this is true. Fine. The next question they are asking, if the shift in the input signal causes corresponding time shift in the output signal, then the system is called time invariant. So time invariant system, as we already know that suppose this is your system, if this is your system, a signal x of t is given to the system and it is producing y of t, which is output. From x of t it is producing y of t, and if you give some time lag or time delay, suppose t minus 2, then it will produce y of t minus 2. So ultimately what are they doing? That means there is a relation, or there is a very important we can say that relation between the input and output. That means if you delay the input, the output will also be delayed by the same value. So if it is advanced, then that will also be, the output also be in advance. So x of t, if you put x of t, then y of t is produced, and x of t minus 2, y of t minus 2 is produced. So this kind of system is called time invariant. But if there is no relation between the input and output, then that will be called time variant system. So since here you can see, if the time shift in the input signal causes corresponding time shift in the output signal, that means changing the input by any time delay or any time shift, you can shift the time, then the output also, the time will be shifted. So that is called time invariant system. This is true. Okay, this is true. Next question is, Fourier transform is to transform the time domain signal into the frequency domain signal. So Fourier domain, as Fourier signal, as you know, that Fourier signal f of s or x of s, you can say. So this is nothing but minus infinity to plus infinity x of t e to the power minus j omega t dt. This is the main formula. Okay, this is the mathematical expression of the Fourier transform. The Fourier transform is basically transforming the signal from time domain into the frequency domain. So this s is the Laplace, this has to be j omega. Okay, f of j omega. So this j omega, that means the Fourier transform basically transform a signal from the time domain into the what? Into the frequency domain, because the signal, we can analyze the signal much easier compared to the time domain in the frequency domain. So here the question it is saying the Fourier transform is to transform the time domain signal into the frequency domain signal, which is again true. The next question they are asking, unilateral Laplace transform is also called the one-sided Laplace transform. So let us see what is unilateral Laplace transform and what is Laplace transform. See the Laplace transform x of s or f of s, you can write x of s is minus infinity to plus infinity, then x of t, then e to the power minus s t dt. So this is your Laplace transform. Remember, because it is coming from minus infinity to plus infinity, all the signals we are adding. But for unilateral Laplace transform, we can write it like xi of s, which will be, the formula is 0 to infinity, then x of t, and e to the power minus s t dt. The formula is almost similar, just the limit is different. So here you can see the limit is from minus infinity to plus infinity. So if you draw here, for Laplace transform it is 0, this is your minus infinity, this is your plus infinity. So this part is left-sided signal, this part is left side, and this part is right-sided signal. So in Laplace transform there are both left and right-sided signal, but for unilateral Laplace transform there is only one-sided signal. So here you can see from starting from 0 to infinity there is only one side. So it may be your negative or positive direction. It doesn't have any issues. But the thing is, we have to remember that in a Laplace transform, it can be also called as one-sided Laplace transform, unilateral Laplace transform. Okay, so this Laplace transform is called unilateral Laplace transform or one-sided Laplace transform. The next question they are asking, the sinusoidal signal a sinusoidal signal is represented by x of t, which is a cos of omega t plus phi, and where omega is the angular frequency and phi is the phase. This is the correct answer, because any sinusoidal signal can be presented as like this: a cos omega t plus phi. This is the standard form. Here this a is the amplitude and this is the cos or sine. You can put here any because it is sinusoidal. Both cos and sine you can use. Then here this omega, this is the angular frequency and this is the time, and this phase phi is the phase difference. So this is the again the correct answer. It is true. The next question they are asking: the discrete time signal is mathematically aptly presented as a sequence of number. Yes, that is also true, because if you draw any any signal which is discrete time signal, this is your axis n, this is your n, and this is your xn. That means the amplitude. If you draw here any signal, suppose here, and we have drawn some signal like this is 1, or this is 2, or this is suppose 3, and then next one suppose 2. So basically, if you write all the signals here, the signals values will be like this: x of n will be 1, 2, 3, 2, dot dot dot. Like this you can draw. So see here, what are these? These are nothing but the sequence of number. Number or a key hoy sequence. Okay. So these are the sequence of number for discrete time signal. The next question they are asking: the Laplace transform can be used to solve the differential equations. It is very important, Laplace transform. This is again the Laplace transform is basically used to transform a time domain signal and frequency domain signal. And the Laplace transform has very huge number of applications. Like the Laplace transform can be used to solve the differential equations of mathematics, as well as this Laplace transform can be used to solve a electric circuit. Okay, so remember, this Laplace transform can be used to solve the electric circuit. Then it can be also used to solve the differential equations. Okay, so this is also true. The next question, the MCQs, the multiple type questions over here. The energy of the signal x of n. This one we have to solve. So see here, the energy of the signal x of n is nothing but summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, then x of n, then whole square. See here, the limit is minus to plus infinity, but if you see here, this arrow is always marked as 0 position, then here it is minus 1 position, then here it is plus 1 position. So the time scale is minus 1 to plus 1. So the limit from minus 1 to, the limit will be from n equal to minus 1 to plus 1, minus 1 to plus 1, then x of n whole square. Then the next value here you can see, if you put minus 1 to plus 1 here in place of n, because n value is minus 1 to plus 1, so you will get here, putting all of them, x of minus 1 square plus x of 0 square plus x of 1 square. Now if you put here x of minus 1 position, the signal is 1, so 1 square, plus at 0 position is also signal is 1, so 1 square, plus 1 position 1 square. So all the 1 1 1 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1, and the final answer is 3. So here you can see the correct option is 3. So again 3 is less than infinity. I already told you that the energy signal is having finite energy. So here you can see the energy of the signal is 3, which is again less than infinity or the finite. So this is your energy signal. It is proved. So in the other way, because I told you, because in another way in an exam they might ask you giving this question whether this signal is a infinite, this is a having infinite energy or finite energy. So you have to solve it, and you have to answer like this. So the next question I have to go to. Next question is that which of the following is an even function? So see, even function means putting the negative or any function which can be like, you can draw like this. So if you change the left and right side, or you can just mirror the signal, there will be no difference. So that means if you put negative of something in the signal, it will show the same. So example of even function, as told you, it is cos. Cos theta is the even function and sin theta is the odd function, because if you put anything inside cos theta, that means if the something is negative, then it is already omitted. So here if you put in case of t square, if you put, suppose this is your t square is your signal, so suppose 1 square what is the value? 1 is equal to 1. So if it is -1, if you put -1 square, that will also be 1. So that means if x of minus t is equal to x of t, if x of minus t is equal to t, that means then this signal will be called as even signal. So here you can see, if you put any negative here, same negative and positive, if you put 1 square, it will be 1, -1 square, that will also be 1. That means then -1 square, that means this part, x of minus t, and x of t, that means plus t. And rest of the thing here, if you put, see here, if you put suppose 1 square, what will be the value? 1 square minus 4 into 1, what will be the answer? Answer will be your 1 minus 4, that means -3. And for if you put a -1, so what will be answer? The -1 square minus 4 into -1, then answer will be here 1 plus 4, that means the 5. So you can see here that in this case x of minus t and x of t are not equal. So here the correct answer is t square, and remaining also you can check it. These things are also odd functions. All are odd functions except the first one, it is an even function. The next question, they are asking the fundamental period of the discrete time signal. So this is your discrete time signal, and the standard discrete time signal we can compare it with sinusoidal signal, like I already told you, a cos omega n. So you can use this omega n plus phi. If you compare this thing with this signal, you can see there is phase difference here. There is no phase difference, so phase difference 0, and from n, see it is omega. So with n, this part is omega. So you can easily see omega value is nothing but pi by 4. Comparing these two equations, the standard equations. Okay, this is the standard equation of sinusoidal signal. So the value is omega pi by 4. And again, we know that for a discrete time signal, omega is nothing but 2 pi by n. 2 pi by n. So this n is nothing but the fundamental period. So here you can see pi by 4. You have to solve it. This pi and this pi gets cancelled, and this here you will see 1. So pi 1 times, so n into 1, it will be 1, and this 2 into 4, answer is 8. So cross product. Okay, so n is what? 8. So the fundamental period will be 8. Next question. A system is said to be causal if the output at any instant of time depends input and the present depends on input at the present. And see, the causal system, basically it depends on the input signal of present and past. So here also you can use the technique PP. So this PP will help you, that means present and past. So causal signal is basically, mainly you have to remember by PP formula. So causal means PP, that means present and past. It depends on the input, present and past input. So here it is also already given present, so ultimately the answer is past. So present and past, but it is saying future, no, it is not. Present only, no, none of this. So the correct answer is number 1. Then the next question, they're asking the electric signal and the speech signal are basically, see, electrical and speech signal are basically one-dimensional signal, because there are only one variable in the signal to represent. So this number 1, option 1 is correct. The next step for the remaining part, that means for your part B, it can be solved if you have any queries regarding the part B, and you can get the paper downloaded here. I have attached all the PDF formats of the paper in PDF formats here. All the questions may be very important for your upcoming questions or upcoming 2022 year paper for biosignal system. Please do not forget to subscribe and share the paper, share the solutions of the previous paper, so that it might be helpful for the others. And thank you everyone for putting your very important time. And till then, thank you so much.